Hi everybody. Today I'm going to talk to you about Montessori learning on language. So what I read about is the language is it's very important in child's development. And so what Maria Montessori says is Maria Montessori speaks about language as a primitive language, how the uncivilized society, but still we had a kind of language. So from the generation of man in the world, on the generation of human being in the world, language has formed. How language has formed is through different ways of using our sound. So basically there was earlier before human beings, the sound that was only still the animals and the mammals use some sound of some way of sound to communicate with each other. But on the aspect when a man is developed, when a man is evolved, he has used its sound in a sort of a way that it forms a language. So even though it was an uncivilized society, but still if you say in our old days we had Sanskrit as our language, which was very profound. In Roman culture we had Latin as our language. Even the most primitive people used to know Latin, which is one of the most difficult language. Sanskrit, which is the most difficult Indian language, but still primitive men used to speak very naturally. That is because of the subconscious mind. So what Maria Montessori says, that language cannot be taught, it is to be developed. And how it is to be developed? In the house environment, whatever language is being spoken by the child adapts to it. The subconscious mind keeps hearing the same kind of a language, even though if a parent speaks a slang, that is also picked by a child. If a parent speaks civilized language, it is picked by the child. So it is very important to feed the child the kind of language you are dealing on your day-to-day basis. So Maria Montessori stresses a lot about the family, the environment. And she says language is kind of a supra intelligence. So she speaks something, a new word which I learned was supra intelligence. So it is something, language is something called as supra intelligence, which happens in our collectively and consciously in our subconscious mind. And we, by the age of 5, what she says, a child is capable of speaking like 1,000 words. 2 and 2.5 years of experience, a child can easily speak about 500 words. So that's the kind of research that has found that the child is capable of grasping the kind of language. And the more amount of language is there in the society, for example, if you are in a cosmopolitan environment where you have a lot of mixed culture, you have a global environment, so child picks all kind of language. So she can speak Indian, she can speak Asian, she can speak Britain, she can speak Spanish. So any kind of language, if you are encircled with a kind of environment, and that is to be developed, that is never to be taught. So language is something that develops on its own. Like how primitive men developed its language, similarly the child also develops its language through the environment, through the house. So it is a very important factor. Language is a very important factor because it binds us as a community, as it unites us as a community, as well as it differentiates us from one nation to another nation. So she says that language is very important and you have to make sure the child, so she stresses a lot about civilized and uncivilized society. Civilized society where you give respect to the child, where you are respected, your spouse is respected, your wife is respected, your family is respected. So for her, Maria Montessori, for her is like respect is the key word in her development. So you respect the child, you respect the environment, you respect your parents, you respect your spouse. At the same point of time, the child will understand what respects means. So there are certain basic integrity aspects which you don't teach the child adapts towards it. Thank you so much for watching this video. Please subscribe, share and like.